Okay, Rambam. The laws, blessings. We continue. Oops. Chapter 7. Okay, chapter 7. Laws of blessings. The sages of Israel were wont to follow many customs at meals. All of these are included in the realm of mannered behavior among them. Okay. When entering for a meal, the man of greatest stature should wash his hands first. Afterwards, all should enter and sit down, reclining on couches. That's how they did back in the day. The man of greatest stature reclines at the head of the company, and the person of second in prominence reclines below him. If there are 3 couches, the man of greatest stature reclines at the head of the company, and the person who is second in prominence reclines above him. And the person of third prominence reclines below him. The host should recite the blessing Hamotzi. When he completes the blessing, he should break bread. A guest should recite grace, so that way he will bless the host. And if they are all members of the household, the person of the greatest stature should break bread and recite grace.
Does this still apply? Like if you're at a meal and you're a guest, you should be the one who starts
I
reciting.
got to give couches to everybody. No, no, no one eats by couches, right?
No, but I'm asking about the part about the grace. Like if you're at a meal, if I'm a guest at your house, should I start reciting grace first so that I can thank you in the grace?
So it's the head of the household that is the one that gives that honor.
Okay,
So that's how we do it today.
okay,
On Shabbos, we do it ourselves.
okay.
The head of the household does the grace after meals, leads the mezumin.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Leads, right? So that's how we do it today.
Okay.
Let's see, it brings down something over here. Hold on. Okay. The person, okay, so yeah, so that's how we do it today. And so yes, you can honor somebody, you could do it yourself, you can honor it. That's how we do it today. And there isn't we don't sit people in a priority necessarily is that done.
Yeah.
Okay. A person breaking bread is not permitted to do so until salt or relishes have been brought before each individual, unless their intention is to eat the bread by itself, right? Because you dip into salt, so it should be there beforehand, right?
Yeah.
One should not break off a small piece lest one appear stingy, nor a piece larger than the size of an egg, lest one appear like a glutton. On the Sabbath, however, one may break off a large piece. One should break the piece of the bread at the place where it's been baked thoroughly.
It's funny we're learning this during Passover all about
Yes. Exactly. The most preferable way to perform the mitzvah is to break open a whole loaf. When one possesses a whole loaf of barley bread and a sliced bread of wheat bread, one should put the sliced bread loaf together with the whole loaf, so that when one will break open both the loaf of wheat and the whole loaf, right? Because there's something better. Wheat is better than barley. Okay, it's considered barley is animal feed.
Yeah.
And wheat is for human beings, even though today, all these things are out the window. Right. On Shabbos and on festivals, one is obligated to break bread of 2 whole loaves. One should hold both in one's hands when reciting the blessing and break open one. Right, all 10 fingers should be on it.
When we're doing hamotzi over matzah, are we just like breaking a piece of matzah, or are we supposed to put 2 matzahs together?
On Yom Tov, Shabbos and Yom Tov,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have the double portion because that's to commemorate the Lechem Mishnah that the Jews got from the manna on Friday for Shabbos, right? So you're commemorating
You're doing
that.
it just like you would during the week, but with matzah.
No, during the week you don't.
No,
Only Shabbos.
No, I meant during the normal Shabbos, you put 2 pieces of bread together, 2 loaves of bread together. During Yom Tov, Pesach, you take 2 pieces of matzah and you put them together.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Person who breaks bread should give a slice of bread to each individual, and the latter should each pick up the piece of with his hand. The person who breaks bread should not place the bread in the hand of the person who's eating unless the latter is a mourner.
Wow.
Okay. You're not the provider of that person's bread, even though you're the host and you're giving it to them.
Yeah.
God Almighty is. So you place it before them, they should take it themselves. Person who breaks bread should take the bread first and eat. Why? That's not nice.
Because he's a host.
Because you made a bracha.
Yeah.
And if you don't eat right away, then it could be that blessing is in vain. So you have to eat right away yourself in order, right? Because of the blessing that you made.
But also you don't pass over
And you don't pass over mitzvahs, right?
No, you don't pass over the mitzvah. They give you a piece of challah, you eat it. You don't pass
Right, you don't pass it over, right? Because you don't pass over mitzvahs.
But it says here that earlier.
Even on Passover.
You place the bread in front of the people. You don't hand it to someone.
Right.
Unless they're a mourner.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The mourner meaning their first meal that the mourner's meal is provided for them.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're not doing it like throughout the whole period of mourning where you're like handing the bread each time.
No. The mourner's meal is the first meal
Okay.
after coming from the burial.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Person who breaks bread should take the bread first and eat. As we said, those assembled may not eat until the person who recites the blessing tastes from the bread. The person reciting the blessing may not taste from the bread until those assembled complete the recitation of Amen. Should the person breaking bread desire to honor his teacher or scholar of greater stature, then he, by allowing him to take the bread before he does, he may. So that you could. Okay, we're good?
Yeah.
Two people should wait for each other when eating from the same dish. When 3 people are eating from the same dish, it's not necessary to wait. When 2 have completed eating, the third should also cease. If, however, one completes eating and the other 2 need not cease. Meaning, this is in order to, if you're gonna bench, right?
Yeah, you don't want to
You finish together.
Right. One should not talk during the meal lest a dangerous situation arise. For this reason, if wine is brought in the midst of the meal, each person should recite the blessing alone. For one to recite the blessing and another to answer Amen while he is swallowing, a dangerous situation might arise. Right. Person's going to answer Amen in the middle of a meal, and maybe he is, middle of swallowing some food, and it's going to become dangerous.
So when it says during the meal, it means more when you're like chewing, when you're actually eating. Or is it saying you shouldn't talk during the meal? Because that would be surprising to me.
Yeah.
No, you talk forward.
Huh?
You talk forward to the
Yeah, exactly. You're not just sitting in
Not
class.
just sitting looking at the 4 walls.
Right. One should not look in the face of the person who is eating or at his portion, lest he become embarrassed, right? Don't look at someone else's, what they put on their plate, what they stuff their face with. Not appropriate. Very interesting.
This is like manners.
Exactly. Yeah, so it means while you're eating.
Yeah.
So but while you're eating, and it's not just you eating, other people eating, right? So you have to be careful that if you're going to be speaking and then engage people that they should speak. So if if you, okay, everybody eat, I'm going to say a few words, just listen. That's different. But if you're going to start a conversation to engage people and they've got a mouthful, that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying,
Yeah.
right? Law number 7. An attendant who stands before those dining should not eat together with them. As an act of mercy, one should allow him to taste each dish to satisfy his desire. If the assembled give him wine, he should recite a blessing over each cup because the drinking is dependent on their desire, not his own. If you're sitting at the table and there's wine on the table, you don't have to make a blessing on each cup.
Yeah.
But if you're a servant, you do, because you can't take from the table,
Yeah.
right? You can only take what you're given. So therefore, in each cup, you have to make a blessing, right?
You only do pork break off once.
Huh?
You only do pork break off once. At the beginning.
Not if you're
No,
serving.
not if you're a servant.
Okay.
That's what we just
Right.
just that's what we just said. We're not talking if you're sitting at the table, then you only make it once. But if you're a servant, you make it each time because you can't take on your own.
Right.
Should one of the assembled go out to urinate, he need wash only his hand before entering. Should he speak with a friend and thus remain outside for an extended period of time, he should wash both hands before entering. Right? In other words, a hand that he used to urinate with, he has to wash. But if he was an extended amount of time, he has to wash both hands. The company was sitting and drinking, he should enter, sit in his place, wash his hands with his back turned, and then turn and face his guests. Why should he wash in his place? So that the others will not say that he did not wash his hands because bread is not being served.
You don't do this though.
No, you
No.
But you should still wash your, obviously,
Yeah.
like, if you use the bathroom, you're at someone's Shabbos table, you use the bathroom, you wash your hands in the sink, you then have to go do like another ritual wash? Or is it just like, by washing your hands?
Oh.
Yeah, but if you're in the bathroom at the sink, you're not gonna
You wash
like,
yourself and then you.
yeah, exactly.
This is speaking about urinating. No. Second.
No, but still have to do it 6 times.
Yeah. Okay, number 9. Raw meat should not be placed on bread, nor should a full cup be passed over bread. Similarly, bread should not be used as a support for a plate, nor should it be thrown. Same applies to pieces of fish or meat and other foods that do not have shells, berries, grapes, and figs, because they will become disgusting if you throw it, right? It is permissible to cause wine to flow through pipes in the halls of the bridegrooms, and roasted grains and nuts may be tossed at the bridegrooms in summer. This is not permitted in winter, however, because it will become disgusting. In the summer, not, for whatever reason. Why should we should not wash our hands with wine, whether it has become mixed with water or not? Similarly, we do not spoil any other food or beverage in the contemptuous or derisive manner. It is forbidden for guests to take any of the food that they have been served and give it to the sons or the daughters of the host. Perhaps the host will become embarrassed because all he had was what he had served, and he will not, and that will have been taken away from the children. Right? back in the day, people didn't have plenty as they do today.
Yeah.
So don't give to the children. Maybe it was taken away from the children in order to give to the guests,
Yeah.
right? A person should not send a person a cask of wine or oil floating on its surface, with oil floating on its surface, rather. That's one send a friend a cask that is almost entirely wine with only a small amount of oil on its surface. The recipient may be unaware of the cask's contents, invite guests with the intention of serving them oil, and become embarrassed at his inability to do so. Similarly, any other activity that may cause a person who holds a feast to become embarrassed is forbidden. So, in other words, it's oil. I don't know, but I guess they must have put oil on top of wine to protect it in some manner.
So
I'm not certain. I'm not clear on that. In any case, if you send and the person's going to mistakenly think it's oil, and oil was used, to dip bread in oil, and it's like it was used in a festive manner, and he's going to think now he has a cask of oil, and really he doesn't. So it's going to become embarrassing to him. So you have to make sure that he's aware. After everyone finishes eating, the tables should be removed, and the plates that they ate should be swept. Afterwards, those assembled should wash their hands, as mentioned above. This practice should be followed. Washing your hands, that's my machreinim, right? The afterwaters. We learned that already previously, because they used to have like these salts that were detrimental to your health. So you have to wash your hands to remove it from your hands. So you shouldn't wipe your eyes with it and hurt yourself. This practice should be followed, lest pieces of bread of the size of an olive be found on the floor. It is forbidden to walk or to wash over pieces of this size. If, however, the pieces are smaller than an olive, it is permissible to destroy them intentionally. Meaning because they're on the floor.
Yeah.
When water is brought to wash, the one who recites grace washes his hands first, so that the person of the greatest stature will not sit with dirty hands while others are washing. The remainder of the people eating wash one after the other. Honor is not paid to anyone with regard to the order of washing, because honor is not extended with regard to dirty hands crossing bridges or on the roads, with the exception of the entrance that is fit to have a mezuzah, and even then only with regard to entering. Interesting. When the president of Israel came, Zalman Shazar, so the Rebbe honored him that he should go first through the entrance. But he said he honored the Rebbe. In the end, the Rebbe took him by the arm and they went through together.
Diplomatic.
And this is what it's saying over here, right? Unless you do give the honor entering through a mezuzah, right? But you don't extend honor to dirty hands. Except for the one. Even though we just said they should not sit with dirty hands while others are washing, honor is not paid to anyone with regard to the order of washing, because honor is not extended with regard to dirty hands crossing bridges it seems to be a contradiction there. Look that up. Okay. 13. After the assembled finish washing their hands, drying their hands, and reciting grace, the person who recited grace should recite the blessing over the incense. The incense burner is brought in. Everyone should answer Amen. So, in order to perfume the place, they brought incense after the meal, right? And that people, for them should be nice aroma, and it's sort of like, to create a nice atmosphere at the same time. If wine is available, grace should be recited over a cup of wine. We bring a cup, a cane of revius, 3 ounces or more, and spices. The person reciting grace should hold the wine in his right hand and the spices in the left hand while reciting grace. Afterwards, he should recite the blessing on the wine and then the blessing on the spices. We don't do it with the spices. No, this is not Havdalah. This is a regular meal.
It's not Havdalah, but I said it's like Havdalah.
Like Havdalah, yeah. Yeah. But we don't do this today. If the spices were fragrant oil or the like, you should spread them on the head of an attendant afterwards. If the attendant was a Torah sage, he should spread it on the wall so that he will not be going out to the marketplace with perfume. He's a Torah sage, but he's an attendant over here, right?
Wow,
So
you have that.
he shouldn't, because he shouldn't be like, smelling, perfumey. Although grace does not require wine, one should recite grace over wine according to the custom we have mentioned, in several conditions must be met. One should wash out a cup over which the blessing is recited on the inside and its outside. It should be filled with undiluted wine. When one reaches the blessing of the Eretz Yisrael, one should add a small amount of water so that it will be pleasant to drink, things that we don't really do today. Conversation should not be made over the cup over which grace is recited. Rather, everyone should remain silent until the grace and the blessing on the wine is concluded, and then they should drink.
Wow. So it's always preferable to do it over wine
Yeah.
when possible.
Yeah. All right, folks. We will see you Wednesday.